Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Payton on the Radio podcast as we are finally back with episode 4, and it has been quite a while. I know, we get at least one that last episode out before October ends, but it's been quite a while, and I'll kind of explain myself before we get into talking about some hockey and everything like that. But I'd like to talk about some great news about the podcast, is that we're officially going to be on Spotify and iTunes and wherever else you can find your podcasts and stuff. So if you want to listen to this on your train ride home or on the car drive home as well, definitely go check it out. Go give it a great rating and go listen on there. I would definitely recommend it. I'm going to be posting all the previous episodes and this episode up on there as well. So really go check it out. It'd be very much appreciated. All the links will be down in the description below for Spotify and iTunes and wherever else I posted. So if you want to go listen to it audio-wise, I'd recommend going and checking it out there. If you don't want to just see my beautiful face, I would go check it out there. But if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. It'll be very much appreciated. So let's get into this episode of the Payton on the Radio podcast, as we got some big stuff that we're going to be talking about. Now, the reason why I haven't posted an episode of the podcast was, well, I was sick. Unfortunately, I got slapped with a little bit of a cold last week where it kind of derailed me. I wasn't really able to talk at all. I had a pretty bad sore throat, so I wasn't able to really talk and really do anything or kind of have the muscle, the brain power to really get things organized for this podcast. But finally, we are back and we are ready to go. We got power rankings, which I sadly don't have a graphic for it, but I am going to be making a graphic for the power rankings that will make it look just a lot cooler. So we're definitely going to be going over the power rankings and the way that the power rankings will work. I won't do like a whole league power rankings. We're only going to be doing a top 16 power rankings is the way that I'm going to do it. Just because if I were to do the whole league, that would just take up way too much damn time. So we're just going to do 16 of the best teams, and that'll be kind of the power rankings that I'll be doing throughout every week. Every podcast will be updating it, whether it only be a few days away, whatever it may be. There might be only a few changes, but we're going to be doing the power rankings every single week, so definitely be staying tuned for that if you like to see my power rankings. Now, of course, it's only the first 2 weeks of hockey, so the power rankings are going to look like a little weird. Even the Flyers are going to be in this week's power rankings, mostly because the Flyers been off to quite of a good start there with John Tortorella. They've off to 5-2, so we're going to be getting into talking about them. We're going to be talking about the Vancouver Canucks and everything like that, so we got a decent amount of stuff that we're going to be talking about. But I think to start off this episode, we're going to get into a few rumors and talk about some stuff that I wanted to talk about. I think, where we can start off first is let's talk about the Vancouver Canucks. Now, if you guys didn't watch my live streams, I talked about the Vancouver Canucks with my buddy Perlo Wisdom. And they actually made a trade, which I'm actually quite a big fan of what they did with this deal. I thought it was a really good deal. I know a lot of people don't like Ethan Bear. I don't know why, especially Oilers fans. And people are like, oh, well, he got fucking scratched in Carolina. That means he's bad. I don't think so. Honestly, Ethan Bear is so goddamn good defensively and offensively. He had a rough year last year because of COVID. He also got injured, and people, tend to ignore that fact that he was injured throughout the playoffs and keep saying to me that he got scratched. Quite honestly, they just didn't need him there in Carolina. That right-handed side was stacked. They didn't need him there in Carolina, and for sure, Vancouver Canucks definitely need him. This is a guy that will take a top 4 spot for the Vancouver Canucks. People are like, oh, he's not going to be... But they got fucking Kyle Burrows and Luke Shen up the right side, and Tyler Myers. This guy could be a top pairing defenseman for the Vancouver Canucks, quite honestly. That's how poor defensively this team is. But we're going to be talking about Vancouver. They made a few deals, actually, but the Vancouver Canucks have been quite off to a rough start. Now, they did get a W yesterday, so now they're 2-5-2. So they did beat the Pittsburgh Penguins the other night, but man, they have been ever off to a rough start, and I thought they were going to be a lot better than what they were. Of course, they've been getting some injuries with Brock Besser, Quinn Hughes, Curtis Lazar's out of the lineup, but there's been so much troubles there with this team, man. It's just ever-evolving crap right now, and I mean, they're finally starting to turn things around a little bit. They're starting to produce. They're starting to play a lot better. So that's, a good sign for the team that they're actually able to pull away with some big wins, but they definitely need to play a lot better defensively. Able to beat the Kraken and the Penguins were really nice. The Penguins, they've been struggling over the past few games as well. So that's something to note as well, which I did kind of put them up a little higher in my power rankings. To note, even though they have lost a few games, I know, but I think they'll bounce back. I'm not really too worried about it. The power rankings that I did make are a little bit like of a rough. I didn't even put the New Jersey Devils. They've been doing quite well as well. I totally forgot about them. Don't worry, the power rankings are going to change. This is just the first week of the power rankings. I might actually even throw the New Jersey Devils in there. I don't even know where I'm going to replace some team. We'll add a 17th spot in there for the New Jersey Devils. Let's continue talking about the Vancouver Canucks here and the big changes that, of course, they need to make. Quite honestly, I think this team should have rebuilt it a long time ago, to be quite fair. This is a team that I think, they keep trying to do these quick retools where they're like, oh, we have some decent players. Let's just quickly retool the team. We'll pick up Garland. We'll pick up this guy. We'll pick up that guy. And now we'll be good. And then they're not good. And they're like, oh, what the hell? We're not good. It's like, yeah, no shit, because you guys continue to rush yourselves. You guys continue to pay guys and overpay them when they don't deserve that type of money. For example, JT Miller. People will probably be like, oh, well, he had like a big point season, but the guy overperformed massively. Is he going to have probably another good season this year? Yeah, but like, why sign him to a 7-year deal at $8 million per season? It just makes no utter sense to me when you're going to be locking this guy up all the way until he's 38, when he already got a great 1-2 punch with Bo Horvat and Elias Pettersson. Why do you need to feel the need to lock up JT Miller when honestly your focus should not be on forwards? It should be without a doubt on defense. Now, I really love the pickup that they got with Ethan Bear. I thought the Ethan Bear pickup was amazing. Only trading away a 5th round pick and picking up Ethan Bear and Lane Peterson. And now people, of course, like I said before, people will say he's bad, but people tend to forget that Ethan Bear played up on the top pair with Darnell Nurse, and people were like, Darnell Nurse carried Ethan Bear. But at that time, Darnell Nurse was shite defensively, and people tend to forget that people think that Darnell Nurse has just been good the entire time. No, Darnell Nurse has only been good defensively over the past year. He is just starting to become a good defenseman. But way back when Ethan Bear was playing with Darnell Nurse was shit defensively. And guess who was the good defensive player? Ethan Bear. Ethan Bear was a really good tandem alongside of Darnell Nurse. And quite honestly, I think Ethan Bear and Quinn Hughes could be a potentially good pairing, or even playing them alongside of Oliver Ekman-Larsson could be a good idea. I'm excited to see what Ethan Bear will do there. Honestly, I'm excited to see what he'll be able to do for the Vancouver Canucks and what he'll do. I'm quite excited to see. I mean, there's not really else much to talk about there with the Vancouver Canucks. And I think Canucks fans should be excited about this. You have Kyle Burrows and Luke Shen, who are both just ass defensively. They're not good. So getting a good defenseman in Ethan Bear, I think, is an amazing pickup. And then they also made another deal. It was a small little deal. They traded away Michael DiPietro and Jonathan Meyerberg for Jack Studnicka. Jack Studnicka has really not performed very well for the Boston Bruins. Has really been able to keep himself in the main lineup. So we'll have to see what he'll be able to do for the Vancouver Canucks. But I talked about this team a lot, and I've talked about this team over the past few years. I thought this team should just do a full-blown rebuild and just tank for the next few years. Let Pettersson and your guys develop and get into a good place instead of trying to, make them good all of a sudden. They don't have a good defensive core. They don't have a good prospect system right now, so them continuing to rush things is simply not going to work. And people tend to forget that the way that you should be building your teams is without a doubt by tanking. Tanking and getting a good prospect system is the best way to build your teams. Like we've seen with the Tampa Bay Lightning, like what we've seen with the Detroit Red Wings right now. And, what we've seen in the past with the Chicago Blackhawks, tanking, getting a bunch of good draft picks, getting a ton of good prospects. So when you are making it into the playoffs and you are pushing for the cup and you are, up against the cap, you have these young players that are nice and cheap come into the lineup. Now, we've been hearing some rumors that Vancouver Canucks are thinking about trading away a lot of their guys. I don't know if that's just because it's like a knee-jerk reaction. I've been hearing Niels Höglander might be getting traded away, which I don't like it because I think Niels Höglander has been a really good player. He's just not been getting that luck finishing-wise, but Niels Höglander is a really good player. It's just he's not finishing his opportunities. Generates a lot of offense, doesn't play that bad defensively, just doesn't generate or doesn't finish his chances, and that's the biggest thing there with Niels Höglander, is he needs to finish his chances. So there's a lot of problems there with the Vancouver Canucks. Quite honestly, what I would have done a long time ago with this team is just rebuild and really stuck to that rebuild and bring in good prospects and develop. And that's what this team should have done a lot longer ago, and not lock up JT Miller and not trade for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Like, just imagine this team. Just imagine, right? If they didn't lock up JT Miller and they decide to dump off JT Miller at the deadline, and you get a decent amount of picks back, and also you didn't trade it for Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and you actually had Dylan Guenther and, you know, your prospects. I just don't get what they were thinking with that. And Dylan Guenther hasn't been looking that bad for the Arizona Coyotes. And quite honestly, I'm a real big fan of Dylan Guenther. And Dylan Guenther would have been an amazing winger to go alongside of Elias Pettersson. Without a doubt, this guy would have been killer to go alongside of Pettersson, especially since Besser has been injury prone his entire career. You know, you can't really rely on Brock Besser right now. Every time you blink your eye, he's injured. You know, he has a wrist injury or something else. Brock Besser has been very injury prone, and honestly, I think that's just going to be the way that it is for Brock Besser's entire career, is he's just going to be a very injury prone player, sadly, because Brock Besser, I think, is an amazing player. But the problem is, can this guy stay healthy? And if you were to get Dylan Guenther, you wouldn't have to worry about Brock Besser being injured here and there. You would actually have an amazing guy in Dylan Guenther who could score an insane amount of goals. But no, you decided that you wanted Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who is done very well, but you wanted Dylan Guenther. Dylan Guenther would have been a way better idea for the Vancouver Canucks than picking up Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I don't get what the Vancouver Canucks were thinking there. It was moronic. And I think the JT Miller signing was also just the owners. Me and Perlo talked about it, that this was like an owner move. And the owners need to stay the hell out of these teams. It's unbelievable the amount of ownership that we've seen from these owners that are like, oh, make this move. We want to keep Miller on the team. It's like, dude, you don't even know hockey. You bought this team. Just let the GM and let the other people do their job and let them manage this team, because quite honestly, you keep shooting yourself in the foot, man. You're continuing to shoot yourself in the foot. You have horrible contracted players in both probably Miller and now Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and you're putting yourself more in cap hell. You were getting almost out of cap hell with Louis Eriksson and all those guys almost being free agents, and then you're like, oh, you know what, I'll just shoot myself in the foot again, bang, and you're like, oh, what the fuck, these guys are not good? Oh, no, we're not good anymore? What the hell, man? It's like, come on, guys. I think Vancouver Canucks are just, they're gonna be perpetual just sucking. They did it with the Sedins, where they just perpetually just sucked and kept signing dumb players and players to dumb contracts because they wanted to try to compete every year. But that's not what you need to do. And I hate how teams just think that, oh, you know, we can just sign players contracts, these fucking, you know, 1-year wonders, and expect them to do really good. It's like, come on. Like, I don't get it. What Vancouver Canucks are doing is just not a good idea. They should have rebuilt, and they were doing a little bit of a rebuild, but now they're just back to like trying to compete. I don't know what Vancouver's quite honestly doing, but if they just suck this year and they get a really good pick, that it could change everything for the Vancouver Canucks, quite honestly. But you never know. Maybe they'll just start turning around here. It is the start of the season, so they could turn things around, and maybe Bruce Boudreau will be able to do that. I don't know. But what we've been seeing from the Vancouver Canucks, it really doesn't look like it, especially when you're playing Luke Schenn 18 minutes per game. Like, I don't know about that one, Chief, or even Tyler Myers 23 minutes. It's not looking very good defensively, so I'm not too hyped up about the Vancouver Canucks, and I don't think it's going to be an amazing season. Pettersson looks great, though. Pettersson has been looking really great. I've been really loving his game, like 9 points in 9 games. He's been stellar. And what are you going to do with Bo Horvat? He's a free agent this year as well. He's the big leader on the team, and now you're going to be kind of tied up against the cap because you decided to sign JT Miller. And you don't want to just keep signing forwards because, well, you already got Brock Besser locked up on a massive deal. Like, you want to start getting some defense in that back end, and they haven't really done that yet. So I don't know what the hell the Vancouver Canucks are going to do. They're kind of a confusing team, to say the least. The next team I want to move towards that we've been hearing a few rumors about is the San Jose Sharks. Apparently, San Jose Sharks are open to just trade about just about everyone, which I love this, man. Pierre LeBrun was talking about it, how Basically, they're open to listening every offer but for Tomas Hertl, and I love this. I bloody love this. You want to know why? Because this is what they should have done a long goddamn time ago. I mean, they shouldn't have even signed Hertl in the first place. Hertl is a great player, but you should have just traded him for picks. Like, that's what the San Jose Sharks should have done. But Timo Meier, I've been hearing he's been in the trade rumor talk, and honestly, without a doubt, trade that guy. He's been struggling this year massively. I think you could probably fetch a first round pick because he's still an amazing player. It's just he's not scoring very much. His goals expected is like low as hell right now. But like, if you can like trade away a lot of these guys that you have on the team, a lot of the guys have really nice contracts, and that's what I really like about what Mike Reir's done. Kunin, Lindblom, Barbadano, they might stay on the team, but you could trade away Benino this upcoming season. He could be a guy. Timo Meier. We've been hearing even Erik Karlsson's name in the rumors, and quite honestly, like, if I was the San Jose Sharks, of course you're going to have to do a half retain. That's just going to be the way that it is. You're going to be, a lot of dead cap is going to be on the San Jose Sharks without a doubt. But to rebuild, you need to make those types of moves. And at the situation the San Jose Sharks are in right now, they're not playing that amazing right now. They're definitely tanking, and this is the year to do it. This is, without a doubt, the year to just tank and suck ass. Really, it really is. But Erik Karlsson's been looking amazing this year, and honestly, I wish he was on a better team than what he is in the San Jose Sharks. But this is the best year for you to tank and you to just suck. And not even just that, like you got some good players that you could trade away for a decent amount of picks. James Reimer. People are going to be looking for goalies at the deadline, and people are going to be paying a high price for goalies at the deadline. And Reimer's been looking amazing, to say the least, this year. So you got Reimer that you could trade away. You got Erik Karlsson that you could potentially trade away. Maybe some of the defensemen that you might be, you could let go. But you also have Timo Meier and Nick Bonino. You already got some picks towards this upcoming season. Now you already picked up from the Carolina deal. Columbus pick. If you get like another first or another second in this upcoming draft, I think that'll be massive going forward here for the San Jose Sharks. I've been really a big fan of Mike Reir. I think what he's doing with the San Jose Sharks is really smart. Bargain picking and just, picking players off the kind of the scrap heap with Nico Sturm and Luke Kunin, Oscar Lindblom, Matt Benning. I was a real big fan of that. And even the draft, like even his draft wasn't too bad either. But I think, continuing to make these small little moves for the San Jose Sharks and then trading away a lot of these guys for picks, I think it's just an insane, really smart idea. I'm a real big fan of what the San Jose Sharks are doing so far, and they definitely need to continue that. And then next thing, we're going to be talking about the Boston Bruins a little bit later on because they're definitely high up on the power rankings, but I want to talk about David Pastrnak. So David Pastrnak is an unrestricted free agent this upcoming season, and somebody that should be getting paid massive amounts of money. But of course, by a report by Pierre LeBrun, dialogue continues between Pasternak's camp and the Bruins. But my read is that there's still some sizable gaps in the position. This could be a grind of a negotiation like what we saw with the Forsberg/Preds, which we went to the wire. In each case, player wants to stay put, but what's fair is cash. Obviously, that can change with one phone call, but that's the feel I get right now. So I don't get Sweeney, man. Like, this guy, I understand you want to, like, kind of not pay the guy a whole crap ton of money, but Pastrnak, with the way that he's performing right now, I think this is the best decision to just give him the money that he deserves. I don't know what he's asking for, whether it be $10 million or $11 million, but pay this guy up, bro. Pay him up. 17 points in 9 games. This guy has been insane to start off the season. And not even just that, the Bruins have been insane to start off the season, to note, all right? They have been 8-1, ladies and gentlemen, to start this season off. They have been incredible. David Pasternak's just been amazing. They just got Brad Marchand back in the lineup, and he threw up 3 points. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on, but pay this man up. I don't get it. I understand that, yeah, there might be a sizable gap. You're up against the cap. But my God, how many fucking nice contracts have been given away? Pastrnak took the nicest contract, $6.6 million for 6 years. He took a home run deal with you guys, and you're still trying to kind of like lowball it. Give the man the money, bro. Give him the bag. Like, you continue to pay up all these dumbass defensemen, but you're not willing to pay David Pastrnak a ton of money. Pay this man up. This is the everything for your franchise. Pastrnak is your franchise player right now, and without a doubt, you should be paying him up. You should be locking this guy up. Is it a smart idea for the Boston Bruins right now? No, probably not, because next year is probably going to be a pretty rough year, especially if Bergeron and Krejci don't return next year. But Pastrnak has been amazing this year. He has been the home run guy. He is your franchise player, and not keeping your franchise player is just a dumb idea. And if you don't give him the money or piss him off and he goes off the free agency, that is not going to be a good look for Don Sweeney. It really isn't. So honestly, the Bruins, they need to lock this guy up without a doubt. Let me guys know in the comment section below what you guys think of David Pastrnak, because quite honestly, this guy should be getting paid the big bucks. Like, without a doubt, this guy should be getting paid the big bucks because he deserves it. He's been a stellar player for the Boston Bruins over the past few years. He's been their big offensive guy, you know, 2 40-point or goal seasons. He's probably going to have another 40-goal season this year, so pay this guy up. He absolutely deserves it. He deserves the payday. He's an amazing player and deserves that payday without a doubt. Alrighty, well, let's move on to the last kind of topic that I wanted to talk about, and that is the Arizona Coyotes dressing room, which I thought was quite funny. So let's jump over that graphic here. So as you guys can see, if you're listening to this audio-wise, we're showing you guys the Arizona Coyotes arena at the Mullet Arena, which is just a temporary. It's only for 4 games. But I thought it was quite funny because this very much looks like a beer league dressing room. Like, my lord, they have like all these little setup chairs with all these like really ghetto setup, like for the locker rooms and stuff like that. It is really, really ghetto, and I thought it was really funny, and people were just taking charge and making fun of this. And quite honestly, it is. It's, you know, we've been given a lot of leeway here to the Arizona Coyotes. Now, from what I've seen, the game looked like it was insane. From what I've seen, like, a lot of people seem to be enjoying Mullet Arena, especially the college people. I think the college people get like a little bit of a discount. Only 4,600, and it was sold out. It was sold out. 4,600 people sold out. So there's some good news in that, but it's only 4,600 people compared to 18,000 with other arenas. And that's the thing too. We haven't even got an arena deal done yet. Arizona is still trying to figure out an arena deal. Still trying to come to an agreement with the city to try to get a new arena deal dealt with. So that means we could be seeing this Mullet Arena for the next few years. And is this going to be very smart for the NHL to continue doing something like this? I don't know. You know, like, I think, you know, what we've seen is that the fans still support the team well enough. But my lord, how much more leeway are we just going to continue to give the Arizona Coyotes compared to every other team that we have seen disbanded, like the Atlanta Thrashers? You know, the Atlanta Thrashers, we have seen even struggle to fill their people in the arena. And we continued to give them leeways until, you know, we booted them off to Winnipeg. So how much more leeway are we going to give to the Arizona Coyotes? I don't know. I mean, the team is perpetually bad right now, and they're playing in a pretty small arena. And the thing is, quite honestly, like, is it that big of a deal when they're going to suck this bad? Probably not. I don't think it's going to be too huge. But quite honestly, it is quite embarrassing that they are playing in a college arena and that their dressing rooms were like this and not even ready to start off the season, and they were like that. Pierre-Luc Dubois said that this was probably the best ice they have ever played on, so it seems like the players are not making too much of a deal of it. But it seems like the Arizona Coyotes players are really not liking it, but that's just because the Arizona Coyotes are a bad, bad team. I mean, they are horrible, and not even just a little bit. They are downright stanky, man. Like, they are not a good-looking team at all, and it's just not going to go good for the Arizona Coyotes. It's a rough-looking team, to say the least. It is a rough-looking team. So I think that's about it that we got to talk about for the rumors and everything like that. Reverse Retros came out not too long ago as well, which I quite like the Reverse Retros. Me and my buddy Calvin are going to be making a little bit of a tier list, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. But I think for rumors, nothing really else has been really talked about that I've seen so far. But for, you know, the Vancouver Canucks and the San Jose Sharks looking to just unload on the team. So I guess let's get on to our power rankings, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, let's get on to that. So I think one thing I did kind of want to put in was the New Jersey Devils. I just haven't really liked the team entirely because like Mackenzie Blackwood and Venasek hasn't been looking too great. So we'll throw them in a little bit later if they continue to do good. But for right now, I want to take a look at the teams that are right now in the power rankings. Now, there will be a big graphic that usually comes up, but I haven't made it just yet. So in the next episode of the podcast or the episode after that, we'll be making it. So we're going to kind of go after each individual team. We'll give a little bit of a talk and a little bit of spiel about them. And then that'll be basically how it goes. So at number 16, we got the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, the reason why I put this team here is because, well, they've been off to an amazing start. 5-2. They've, faced some teams that have been tough competition, like the Florida Panthers. They beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've been facing a lot of teams that I think have been a lot of an easier schedule. I think their schedule is going to get a lot harder with Carolina, the Rangers, the Maple Leafs, the Sens, Blues. So we'll have to see how well they do against these teams. That's why I've only put them at 16th, because honestly, I don't believe they're going to stay here. I think this is going to be the only time we ever see him in the top 16 this upcoming season, because I quite honestly, after this, I see them dropping. I don't see them continuing to overperform. With JVR out of the lineup now, he's on injury reserve. They still have Atkinson out of the lineup. Sean Couturier, he's gone. Like, they're very, very weak lineup. And I think John Tortorella has been making this team overperform, and it's just quite amazing the way that Tortorella has been able to get them performing. Carter Hart, to note, has also been amazing to start off the season as well, so he's been really good. Kevin Haynes has looked really good, so there's been a lot of good things about the Philadelphia Flyers, but John Tortorella, without a doubt, has been making the Flyers work their asses off. Do I think it's going to last? I don't believe so. They've been playing really well defensively, but I don't think this is going to be something that could stay. I think they're going to go back down to earth here very, very soon, but they've been off to a hot start, so I had to put them at number 16. Next up, we got the St. Louis Blues at 15th, who have been playing really well. They've been generating some offense, just haven't been able to put anything in the back of the net. Now, they've been playing great defensively, but this is kind of like the same thing with the Flyers, as they've been playing great defensively, been sucking offensively-wise. They've also lost Buchnevich. Jordan Kyrie's only had 1 point. Same with Ryan O'Reilly's only had 1 point. So they've had a lot of their big star players not produce to start off the season, and they definitely need those guys to start producing a lot more goals and put into the back of the net. Especially, they faced up against the Edmonton Oilers and only got 1 goal against the Edmonton Oilers, and also 2 when they won against them as well. So they definitely got to get more goals. Pure and simple, they got to put more in the back of the net. And they've been playing great defensively, but they got to put more in the back of the net. So they've been losing 3 in a row. So we'll have to see how well they do against the Canadiens and the Kings in these upcoming games. So, but I think the Blues will turn it around. That's why I put them up in the power rankings, because I think they have been playing really well. It's just they haven't been able to get off to that hot start that they've been looking for, and haven't been playing too fantastically defensively. Next up, we got the Washington Capitals up here at 14th. Now, I think they just did take an L the other day there, from what it looks like against the Dallas Stars yesterday. So they did lose against the Stars, but I still been liking them. Kemper's been not looking amazing, but Ovi, Dylan Strome, have been really loving his game. Connor Sheary's been off to a good start, but they've been producing some offense, not playing amazing defensively, but they haven't looked terrible, so I'm putting them up at 14th there. Next up, we got the Tampa Bay Lightning up at 13th. Same thing with them. The Tampa Bay Lightning have been off to a very, very slow start, and I think that's just with the change of the team. Losing Andre Plot, I think, has been big. Ryan McDonough, also losing him, I thought was a very big, hit to the defense core. Mikhail Sergachev so far has looked really good, though, for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hagel has been producing a little bit of offense. But Kucherov and Stamkos have been their 2 biggest offensive producers, but they need to start seeing everybody else produce, and that's why I think their top line of stacking up with Kucherov, Stamkos, and Point needs to stop. They need to even out the lines up a little bit, try to even everything out so every line is looking a little bit better instead of just stacking up on the first line. I've been loving it for fantasy, though. I have both Kucherov and Stamkos on my fantasy team, so I have been loving it for the fantasy-wise. And Vasilevsky, he's been playing all right, but not amazing to start off the season, so hopefully I can see a little bit of a bounce back from him. But they did just beat the Anaheim Ducks. And then they lost to the Kings as well in that back-to-back. But they got the Sharks, Sens, and Hurricanes coming up. So the Sharks and Sens, hopefully they'll be able to pull away with some big wins. And then, of course, the Hurricanes will be definitely a tough matchup for the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. So we'll have to see how well they do go into the November month. And then we got the Ottawa Senators, which are up at 12th. I've been real big fan of the Sens this upcoming season. They've been playing amazing. They're 9th in goals for, they're 10th in goals against. They've just been off to a really good start. Batherson and Canuck been amazing. DeBrincat, Drew not looking too bad. They've just been looking really deep defensively and offensively. Their goaltending with Forsberg and Hellberg hasn't been too bad. They're going to be getting Cam Talbot here very soon back into the goalie duo, so we'll have to see how well he does for the Ottawa Senators as well. But I've been a real big fan of it. I've been really enjoying their team. It sucks that Josh Norris is out for a good bulk of the season now, so that sucks. And then Zub also got injured, so that might knock him down a few inches as well. But I've been a real big fan of the Sens and how well they've been doing. And at number 11, we got the New York Rangers, who have been looking kind of sketchy to start off this season. Their goals for, and honestly, actually, I might bump up the Ottawa Senators up to 12th and the Rangers down to 11th. The Rangers have not been looking too great, but Panarin's been amazing. Same as Spinajad. Shesterkin's been off to kind of a shaky start. But the Rangers definitely need to play a lot better in front of their goalie. They need to play a lot better defensively, and they need to start playing better 5-on-5 wise. I cannot believe they decided to just continue to suck 5-on-5 wise. I don't know what Chris Drury was thinking with this season, year's offseason of only picking up Trocheck and just leaving the grinders down below. Like, it's not going to work. Like, you made it to the Stanley Cup or the conference finals luckily last year. I don't think you're going to get that lucky again this year. At 10th, we're going to get to the top 10 now. We got the Florida Panthers. Actually, no. Sorry, my bad. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs at 10th. My bad. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs at 10th. They have been sucking offensively. Austin Matthews have been off to a brutal start. Only 2 goals in 8 games. Their top line has just not been the big producers. John Tavares has been amazing. No, I gotta say, John Tavares has been just absolutely amazing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, to say the least. But they've been playing quite well defensively. That's something to note. Samsonov has been off to an amazing start. He's 4-1 with a .932 save percentage. So Samsonov has been looking amazing and really being the big goalie that the Toronto Maple Leafs really need. It's just they need that big offensive stuff. So... And we also been hearing Barry Trotz wants to come back as a coach and coach an original 6 team. So is Sheldon Keefe going to be staying with the Toronto Maple Leafs? Is he going to be getting fired? I don't know what's going to happen with Keefe, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. And maybe we might be seeing Barry Trotz as a head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. And quite honestly, I think that is definitely a better idea. And then at 9th, we got the Florida Panthers. I like the Florida Panthers way more than the Toronto Maple Leafs, quite honestly. Their defense is definitely something to be kind of worried about, especially with Aaron Ekblad out of the lineup now and having to worry about their stupid defensive core that they have now. It's super weak. It's incredibly weak. But the thing to note about putting Ekblad on the LTIR is you do save some money with this because he is on the LTIR. Same with Duclair. So you are earning money from this. So that is kind of a good tactic here from the Florida Panthers, and they can make a deal later on down the road. But when you have Forsling and Montour as your top pairing and then Muhara and Gudas as your second pairing, it's definitely not looking very good for the Florida Panthers. But their offensive core has been looking pretty good, being in some good production out of Kachuk, but really need to start seeing some more production from Reinhart and Barkov, and really need to see some more production from their bigger guys, and not from just Kachuk only. So definitely need to see some more production from those guys. At 8th, we got the Edmonton Oilers. Really been a big fan of the Edmonton Oilers to start off the season. They've been shaky defensively, a little bit of struggle 5-on-5 wise, but the last few games, they've been really turning their things around. They've been producing some more offense. They're getting to some things going. Evander Kane slowly getting himself going. Zach Hyman's been amazing to start off the season. Same with McDavid. He could be potentially a Maurice Richard winner. He has 8 goals in 8 games. I mean, McDavid has just been incredible this upcoming season. The goaltending's a little bit shaky, though. Jack Campbell has not been looking very great with that .888 save percentage. Stuart Skinner, though, has been quite amazing in his first 2 games for the Edmonton Oilers, being 1-1, and he has a .957 save percentage, and Skinner has been looking quite well for the Edmonton Oilers, so that's something to be hopeful about if you're an Oilers fan like me. But the Edmonton Oilers are up at 8th for these power rankings, and moving on, we got the Colorado Avalanche at 7th. This is another team that has been playing really great to start off the season. Nikushkin has just been amazing alongside McKinnon, Rantanen. And this is not even a team that has Landeskog in the lineup yet. Georgiev has been looking stellar in his first few games for the Colorado Avalanche, having a .921 save percentage. He beat his old team the other day and was absolutely electric about it. But Bowen Bryant has been doing really good for the Colorado Avalanche with the more minutes that he's been getting. One player that needs to perform a lot better, though, is Alex Newhook. He's been off to a kind of a shaky start for the Colorado Avalanche, so that leaves up a little bit of a hole for that second line spot, and we'll have to see what they'll be doing with that one, but they'll probably be picking somebody up at the deadline. But they need to get some more secondary offense, not just from their top lines. They need to get more secondary offense. So once Landeskog comes back in the lineup, or whenever he does, he's going to be out for a pretty long time for the 12 weeks, and that was during on September 22nd. So you probably won't be back until late November. But once he gets back, that'll be massive for the Colorado Avalanche. And honestly, that's why I have them up so high, because, well, they did so well last year, and they've been looking not too bad to start off the season. Up next, we got the Pittsburgh Penguins at 6th, who have been, losing the past few games. They lost 3 in a row games, so probably could have fallen off a little bit more down the power rankings. But I've still been a big fan of them. They've been, a little shaky on this, road trip that they've been on. But Crosby's been off to an amazing start with Heinen and Malkin. Raquel not looking too bad, and Tristan Jarry been looking good in the net for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Defensively, they've been kind of a little shaky defensively, but goal production, they've been absolutely amazing. At 5th, we got the Dallas Stars, and I'm kind of surprised we have this team up at 5th, because I didn't know they were going to be this good, but they are great defensively, producing a good amount of offense. Niels Lundqvist has been amazing, while Johnson's been amazing for the team. Then you also have Robertson, Hintz, and Pavelski, Marshman. Sagan's been actually producing some points for the team. And then, of course, Jake Onger has been insane. I think this is a guy that could potentially win the Vezina without a doubt this year. He's just been looking incredible, to say the least, for the Dallas Stars. So I think that's definitely somebody to be very, very excited about if you're a Dallas Stars fan. Jake Onger has just been amazing. 5-1, a .960 save percentage. I mean, the guy has just been stellar for the Dallas Stars this start of the season, and has just been a god for this team. An absolute godsend for the Dallas Stars, quite honestly. And then at number 4, we got the Calgary Flames, who have also been off to a pretty good start defensively. You also been seeing Nazem Kadri produce really great. He's just been stellar, to say the least, to start off the season. Players that need to start producing a lot more, though, is Jonathan Huberdeau. He's been off to kind of a shaky start. Matt Trapani hasn't been too bad, and Lindholm has been off to a shaky start as well. So their center core has not been looking amazing, especially with Lindholm just not playing that amazing. Markstrom has been okay with his numbers, but they've been pretty well defensively in front of him. It's just Markstrom hasn't been made some of the bigger saves that he needs to make. But we'll have to see how well he does against the Edmonton Oilers this upcoming night, as he will be going up against them in the Battle of Alberta. So we'll have to see how that happens. And at number 3, we got the Carolina Hurricanes as well. I've been really liking their start of the season. I know they haven't really been scoring very many goals, but Svechnikov has been a goal per game. He's just been absolutely amazing. Just need to start seeing more production from Jarvis, Teravainen, and Akok, and Anami, and a few of their depth players, but they've been playing really great defensively and have been off to an amazing start, to say the least, for the Carolina Hurricanes, and I'm excited to see what else they'll be able to do. And the 2 teams I've been big fans of is number 2, we got the Vegas Golden Knights, who Bruce Cassidy has been able to really turn this team around, and has gotten everyone producing points. Everyone that has been in the main lineup has produced at least a point. Marshall's been amazing. Eichel's been an amazing start. Not just that, Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill have been amazing. Thompson with a 943, Aiden Hill with a 935. They've both been amazing in that save percentage department, and both been amazing goalies for the Vegas Golden Knights. They've been absolutely incredible. And at number 1, we got the Boston Bruins, who just got Brad Marchand back in the lineup to note as well. Who's slowly coming in. And in his first game, he had 3 points in that first game against the Red Wings, having 2 goals. Pasternak has just been looking incredible, like we said at the start of the podcast, 17 points in 9 games. Bergeron, Krejci's just been an amazing guy to come back in the lineup. There's just so much good stuff going on. And Linus Ullmark as well, just been playing absolutely amazing for the Boston Bruins. So that is the very first week of the power rankings. It was kind of hard to make the first week of the power rankings, because teams are just kind of all over the place. It's kind of a little bit of a shit show, because teams are trying to figure out how to play, figure out their new systems and all that sort of stuff. So it was kind of a gong show, but like the top 5, honestly, those top 5 teams have been really good. Carolina Hurricanes could probably be a little bit lower, but even then, I have really high hopes on the Carolina Hurricanes, and I think they're going to be absolutely amazing. So that is it for the NHL Power Rankings on the Payton on the Radio podcast. That was a lot of fun, and I think that's really about it that we got to talk about. I know there are some hockey games while I'm recording the podcast right now, but of course you guys will be seeing this tomorrow So on Sunday, you guys will be watching this episode of the podcast. Make sure to go check out my Spotify and iTunes. Go check that all out. Actually, one last thing. Devin Dubnyk, I want to talk about him real quick. He announced his retirement today. Absolute bloody legend. He played amazing for the Minnesota Wild for quite a bit there. He had an amazing career. I was always a big fan of Devin Dubnyk, even when he was an Edmonton Oiler. I know he didn't have a great career with the Edmonton Oilers, but I was always a big fan of Devin Dubby, the Doobie-Doo, and I was always a big fan of him. So hope you have a happy retirement, Dubnyk. Have a great time with your family, and great career for Devin Dubnyk. 542 games, amazing career, but yeah, for right now, guys, I'm probably going to end the podcast here. Thank you guys for either watching or listening. Make sure to go check out the Spotify, iTunes. Go follow that up. Give it 5 stars. Whatever you can do, go support that crap. Go give it a check out. For right now, guys, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching, guys. And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.